January 16, 2025. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. Been very choppy lately, especially last couple days. And the trading, I don't think, was very obvious. It's kind of hard to really decipher. This is how I drew up the charts today. As you can see, there's kind of this rally up, two legs down, this consolidation area, push up, another leg down. At that time, I thought I was in another range right here. It extended out. Doesn't quite fit that well towards the later half of the day. Another smaller trading range here, and a lot of little swing legs. I found some setups, but I would say most of them I marked as almost trades. And then later, I think they were a little bit more possible, or not believe they were possible. They were possible. It's just I thought they were actually something maybe worth taking. I took a total of 5 trades, which is more than I should have, and I also lost on one, which was the first trade actually. So I lost the first trade, and recovered and won the last 4 trades. This is where I took my trades. These blue boxed indicate these blue box notes. There's only one piece of economic data that came out, which is at 5:30, which is about right here. There's a core retail sales and unemployment claims. But as you can see, I mean, it caused a little bit of noise right here, but then the rest of the day it just really, really choppy sideways action. Like similar to yesterday on Monday, it was yesterday, Tuesday. It was just kind of really, it wasn't the easiest for me. I'm going to get into the trades, really choppy. So there was a pre-market, sold off, rocketed up, sold off in 2 legs, and then kind of did a slow crawl up. And on the open, there was no real setup here. There's a second entry long here, but it's a bad signal bar. Nothing, no real setup here. I mean, if you're very technical and you just do a strict count, you can find all kinds of second entry longs, failed second entry longs, second entry shorts failed, but the context isn't quite right. So even though they're there, they're not really worth taking as a setup just because it's a very bad position for that setup to be in, and it would be a high risk of not working. Now, I've done that before, and I still do that to this day. It's because I think I'm still hammering out my experience and my expertise at reading the market and understanding context a little bit better. So if you see my videos, most likely you're going to see me mark some questionable trades, but I'm ever evolving in real time. To me, at least, I'm just trying to be honest. Like that's what I thought I saw, and hopefully, as things progress, I'll start, I'll recognize those as being nothing burgers. So the first setup I actually saw was it creates a new low here, also new low of the day, because the low of the day is right here and actually breaks and makes a new low of the day. I paid attention to that. Created this spike in this down channel. This yellow one doesn't exist yet. So I saw this as a new low, first entry short, pushes all the way back up. This creates a second entry short, but I don't think it's a good trade. I call it an almost trade because it's clearly closing above the EMA. And although it had 2 legs, 2 legs up after the break of this orange down channel, because it made 1 up, 2 up, the second push, if it had closed below the EMA, I would have considered it, but it's a bad signal bar because it's bullish, and I didn't like that it closed above the EMA. You have no idea that it's going to do this, push down. And as it pushes and it prints, it looks like it's kind of in this trading range. No clean setup that I particularly like. Flushes down, hits and creates again a new low, creates a first entry short, pullback, creates a what I thought at the time was going to be a second entry short. So this is a bad execution on my part because I jumped on it. This is my first trade. Yes, it is a second entry short. So in real time, this is what I saw. I saw a green up channel. I did have this yellow down channel drawn at this time, and I saw a third touch confirmation rejection. It's a break of this green up channel, 1 attempt up, and on the first attempt, it made a double top. So I thought, it made double top. It could be considered a test of the high. So when it pushed back down below the EMA with a decent close, I expected at least a 1 to 2 point move, ideally 2, because from 2 points it'd be from here, 59.79.50 to 56.75. So that's clearly enough for 2 points. I decided, okay, I'm going to get on this trade really quickly because I expected a push down. I entered slightly inside this bar to reduce my risk. And in a weird way, I should have put my stop loss up here above the double top, but I actually was slow and reacting on this trade that my stop loss was still the original 10 ticks, that I got stopped out, and I thought, oh, if I had kept my stop, you know, right above the double top, I probably would survive. Well, turns out that I would have just lost even more. From here to here, I would have lost, I think, another point. So it's good that, in a strange way, that I was slow on my reaction. But in hindsight, this wasn't really a good trade because as this one printed and I got my order ready, I should have waited for a confirmed break below this guy, be a true second entry short. And since I didn't, I jumped in early, I paid the price. I still could have tried to drop it in where I originally did after this candle pushes below and confirms this guy. But since it didn't happen, I got bit. Prices move up. Looks like it's flowing up on this orange up channel. Just kind of watching carefully. It breaks, and this is actually where I take my second trade. It's a new high. Say first entry long, pull back. Second entry long. Second entry long fails on this candle. This is a break of this green down channel. Now, I wasn't really concerned about this orange up channel trying to test a new high at this point because this orange up channel is really shallow. I mean, that's not just the only factor, but the retrace and the correction of this green leg was more than half of this. So I'm actually thinking maybe there's going to be a test of this low, but this isn't a very good channel. So it's not super reliable, but I saw this. Ideally, this should have ticked above and then pushed down to kind of trap people. But it created a triple test, micro triple, micro double top, and it created a triple one. Closed. I thought, okay, it might come down to test the low of this green down channel. And so, excuse me, it is riskier. So I entered here below this guy, try to reduce risk, move it, inside entry is inside the life of, not in the life, but inside the span of this one. And in looking back, I should have just gone for 1 point because 1 point would have ensured I got out before the break of this, but I stayed in for two. And I was able to get two, but in hindsight, that wasn't a good trade management. Because as you can see, if I tried or if I got a worse fill or I entered after the close of this guy or the low of this guy, I likely would have gotten stopped out by this green candle, and if not, this red candle for sure. And then if I was still hanging in there, this green candle would have destroyed me. So it was a win, but it wasn't a very good trade. I'm not proud of that one. Creates a new low. It's a first entry short, pullback, creates a second entry short, bad signal bar. Second entry short has failed on this one now. So I got in my head that I'm going to take a long for a push back up to test the highs here. I saw this break, two legs down, and now it could be starting a second leg corresponding to this orange one. So not really testing the high of this guy necessarily, but just having it creating a second leg break, one attempt. So it's after the break of the screen, one attempt, two attempts down. But it already looked like it's one push, and it could be starting a second push up on this orange up channel. So I waited for this failure. I wanted to see what happens. It opened, and I entered at the high of this candle. Entered. I was wondering if I was going to get stopped out because my stop was below here. It comes down, it stops within, I think, a few ticks, a couple ticks of my stop, creates this higher low. At that time, when I saw this, I was thinking, should I go for a break-even trade because it made a micro triple test. It pushes up. It gave me a little more confidence to hang in there. Pushes up, and I actually get my quick 2-point scalp and pushes down. So seeing that I barely got the 2-point scalp here, barely got the 2-point scalp here, I was starting to reconsider on a day like today whether I should really be reaching for 2 points or maybe just quickly jump in and out for a quick 1-point scalp like I've done most of my trading career. Because I've only lately started doing 2-point scalps, but I need to gear that, I think, to what the market conditions are. And this is just very tight, very choppy trading. The prices continue moving, moves down in this orange down channel. I'm thinking we're in a range because it looks like there's some kind of support here, maybe some kind of resistance up here, pushes up and pushes back down. So now I'm thinking, yes, we're in a range. It's clearly, well, more defined. The fail breakout here pushes back up and it creates a corresponding fail breakout here. So I'm thinking, oh yeah, there is definitely some kind of range that we're playing in right here. Pushes down, and it creates this triple test. Well, multiple tests. In any case, I'm not really trusting that this is the end all be all line, but I'm seeing this as kind of a little zone. And prices are respecting this zone, and prices are respecting pretty much this line with fail breakout. So it pushes down, pushes strongly back up. You really only have a first entry long. But with the close of this signal bar, I like that it was pushing all the way down. It didn't break below here. It looks like it's bouncing off this resistance. It is admittedly more risky because I don't really have a second entry, but I do have this really strong signal bar. I jumped in at the high, and this signal bar itself is kind of big, so I have three points, but I thought it was going to be enough for a quick 1 point scalp. So I entered here, as you can see, 59.8225, and I jumped out at 59.8350. So it's a 5 point scalp. Prices move up. It would have worked for two, but I just, seeing the two previous trades that I was green on, which just barely, got out. I mean, you could say there was enough room to get out for sure, but the setups themselves are just a little sketchy. So I was questioning my read. Prices then move down. Again, it bounces off the bottom, so I'm thinking where's a pretty strong range. And now it's starting to break out. And as it breaks out, I draw this yellow or this orange up channel. No clean setups. You only have the first entry. Technically, you have a new high, first entry long, second entry long, second entry long failure. The second entry long failure, I called it an almost trade because it does look clean in that it's first entry, second entry fail. The main drawback of this second entry fail, it is confirming this green down channel, but it only has two touches, not a third touch yet. So I need a third touch to really trust it. EMA is starting to look like it's rejecting, which is fine. It's a good signal bar, but it's too close to this created micro double bottom. Now it is a strong bearish close, but the difference is if it had just at least tick one tick up, I feel like it would have trapped all these people going long and then flushed down. But since it made a micro double top and now it's creating micro double bottom, I wasn't too sure. So I decided to wait for a lower high confirmation. In this case, it doesn't really show up. I mean, technically lower high is right here, but it feels a little too far from the trade now. It is a break of this green down channel, so you could expect another move back down. So I didn't really that they're really aware. Plus, this would be a very good lower high. I need to break above this guy because otherwise, this is an inside candle to this, which makes it not as attractive. Prices then move down. This is where I actually take I guess, my last trade, which, and I mean, it was okay. There's a break of this green down channel. Test and makes a new low. Now it's starting to reverse. You have a new low here. It's a first entry short, pullback, second entry short, potential second entry short failure. Here, it actually fails now. So I thought, okay, it's a second entry short failure. Bounce off this clear support now. This orange up channel is a clear support. A good signal bar. Technically, this is your signal bar right here. This one, this very last one. I said, okay, well, I'm not going to go for two because I want to get out before I had to run into potential issues here. So I only went for a 1 point scalp. And I actually set it back a little bit just at the highs here, hoping for a better fill. I did. So I can actually get out way before, well, not way before, but just before it hits just before it hits the localized top. But I had to sit through this. And keep in mind, if I try to go for two, my stop's down here. This would have stopped me out. So this 1 point scalp plus this 1 point scalp versus these 2 2 point scalps. Like if I try to stick to the guns and do 2 points, I would have lost. Well, this one would have worked, but I would have lost on this one. And then this one, I mean, you did get just 2 points, but it was just kind of like a day that I had to reconsider the aggressive profit targets. Plus, at this point on my fifth trade, I felt like I think I'm over trading on a kind of a noisy day like this. So I had to just be extra cautious. And this is actually my last and final trade. Prices moved down. Localized high, first entry long, pullback, second entry long below the EMA, but there's also two legs down. Starting to push down. Nothing really clean that I like. I was thinking I'm in a potential range right here because it looked like it Fits pretty well here, granted with a fail breakout. And then the bottom support area, it looked like it's supported here with also failed breakout here, but it's a little ambiguous on the clean support and resistance. It's more like support and resistance zones. Prices start moving up. It's a new low. It's a first entry short, pullback, second entry short. Second entry short hasn't failed yet, but I'm suspecting it's about to fail. But I call it an almost trade because it is an overshoot of this yellow down channel here, and it made an overshoot here. So I'm thinking his price is going to move back down into this yellow down channel, or is it going to continue up this potential developing green channel? So I'm not really sure. So I decided just, it's best to sit on my hands. EMA is kind of holding, but it's not really reliable at this point in time, at least in this region as well. So it's again, okay, it's hard to use it as a key entry point. And if I try to take this trade here, there's no real room to localized high. It looked like it kind of struggled in this region. So if you did take it, you have to sit through this. And then it creates what I thought was a lower high, but actually I didn't really like this lower high. It's called an almost trade. Again, I needed one tick below to create a decisive one. And when it creates a decisive higher low, not lower high, higher low, I don't like that it pushed and kind of made a new localized high. So there's no real indication of it's going to keep moving up other than basing off the strength of this candle, which just isn't enough. That's not really a key entry point. So I left it alone, called an almost trade. It would have worked, but it's hard to know that this is what it's going to do at that point. You could argue that you had this green up channel, it's a third touch, but I felt it was a little early. Prices kind of push, consolidates in this region, pushes down, creates a new high. First entry long, pullback, second entry long, potential triple test. Second entry long, I thought this actually might be a possible trade because it is 2 legs down after the break of this green up channel. So it's one green up channel, kind of tested the high, broke, 1 leg down, pushback, second leg down. Not really quite a measured move, but maybe it's good enough. Potentially go for long, and break of this orange down channel made 2 legs down. Break, 1 leg, 2 leg. So maybe it's going to reverse. Maybe there is a triple test. I clearly didn't know that this is going to happen, and after this happened, I think that's when I marked it. So I could be biased. So if it is a possible trade, it is definitely more risky. Prices create a break of this potential trading range. It kind of just chops around in this area. A lot of doji bars, which I don't like. The new low, first entry short, second entry short, not a good signal bar to go short. It's just getting noisy. It's starting to break through this kind of ugly, choppy looking range that isn't very clean. Creates a new low. It's a first entry short, and this is where I actually saw a hidden second entry short. The hidden second entry short, it feels like it's there because I like that it moved 1 tick above and flushed and closed. Looks like this support of this trading range is starting to fail. So if you're more aggressive, you can start thinking it's going to push through. There's no touch of the EMA, but it's close enough. It made a double top here. So triple micro triple test, and now it's pushing back down. What I really wanted though on this setup was a better, more stronger follow through. Because I'm taking a hidden first entry short, second entry short. There isn't really that much room to this localized low, even though I think it's breaking out of this range. So if I want to take a trade, I have to set it further in, but I just decided not to, and it worked out. Prices then continue moving down. I saw this as a new low. It's a first entry short. You have a confirmed second entry short right here. I thought this was a possible trade as well. It is the third touch of this yellow down channel. 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch. Kind of moved. Go correct it a little bit. Something along those lines. Granted, the signal bar is a doji, but the follow through trigger bar is good, and you have enough room to the low. If that wasn't confirmation enough, you get a lower high here, also a really strong close. So I thought this is also a possible trade, confirming the second entry short. Again, staying within this yellow down channel, good rejection, enough room to the low. There's like 2 possible trades here. Prices move down, breaks out of this yellow down channel, starts reversing up on this orange, made 2 legs up, and I'm wondering if it's going to test the lows of this now, because it's break, 2 attempts up, pushing back down. One attempt down, second attempt. Looks like it has exhausted the selling pressure. Now it's moving back up. No clean second entries. It's just getting choppy again. And prices are starting to slow down. It's just not very clean, easy trading here. Did draw this red uptrend and this top creating a channel. It doesn't show up until later. No clean setups. I do see a new high, first entry long pullback. Creates a second entry long. This is a bad signal bar, but I like, this is a bad signal bar, but it has a good trigger bar. Now, as hard as I tried, I couldn't really find a good channel to contain this all. Because I was thinking maybe it's something like this, cutting through here. It doesn't really fit all that nicely at the top. Didn't really hit the highs, hit come back to the low. So if you use this as the entry point, then you would have two legs down. EMA is somewhat holding, break, and good follow through on the trigger bar. But for something like this, I think I wanted a higher low confirmation. And you don't really get a higher low till way up here. And by that time, the higher low is higher than your entire setup. So, and it's already kind of pressing to localized highs. So it doesn't really add anything confidence to the trade. Then prices push up, starts pushing back down. You have a new high, first entry long. Technically, you have a second entry long. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Delete this. It doesn't bounce off this red, so I never colored it in because it doesn't feel reliable. I did see a second entry long here, but it is, I mean, if you're still trading this red, it's kind of very iffy. So you do have a second entry long for sure. Good signal bar, but look at the price action right before it. It is trending up. This is what you see. It is trending up, but it's hard to really trust if it's really moving back into this red channel, which I didn't really trust. And just two sideways right here. In this case, it would have worked even for a 2-point scalp. And then it gets really close to the close of the day and pushes into the close of the day. So it was kind of a choppy day. There were some setups, but a lot of them, for me personally, didn't meet my criteria. So I kind of counted them as almost trades, things that aren't are a little riskier, not worth taking. And even my own trades, the 5 that I took, and I lost the first one, there's a couple in there that were, I guess, riskier. And it was good that I kind of dialed back my profit target from two-point attempt to a 1-point attempt, and it just kind of worked out better. Felt a little safer, just in and out of the trade a lot faster, even though I'm kind of bringing down the risk reward, making it tougher. Any loss is going to take more trades to recover from. This felt a little safer on a day like this, and even on a week like this, where trading has been, in my opinion, for me, a little more challenging. So hopefully that was helpful.